Welcome back to Empowered with Elizabeth Nomofsky, where we're discussing ways to get cash and whether they're helpful to consumers or not. Pat, we're looking at check cashing services now. What is the real cost for people?
Well, with every service, there's going to be a range of fees, but the most common and the average fee that check cashing services charge is 3% on the value of the check, plus a small administration fee. So to give you the example of a paycheck cashing, so somebody would take in their paycheck to cash $800, $24 would be the fee plus the admin. That doesn't sound terrible, but if you are cashing all of your checks there, that's every 2 weeks. By the end of the year, you're going to be charged over $600 just to cash your checks. So you're basically working 1 week a year to have the privilege of having your checks cashed. So when people try to compare these to bank fees, there is no comparison. It's an apples and orange situation.
So are most people in a situation where they need to just keep going back? Is there an alternate for them to go to?
You know what? It depends on what their needs are. As Candice had said, there really is a situation where people are put into that situation where they don't think they have opportunities or other alternatives. There are, but they have to research them and have to understand what's out there, and that's one of the biggest gaps.
So Barb, the costs that Pat just mentioned, they're very high. They're extremely high. Are there laws or regulations about this? And is there something that should change?
So you're absolutely correct. What is being charged, if you look at it on an annual basis, is high. The check cashing services are regulated, but I would say at the very best lightly from a consumer perspective. So the one thing that I can say that I would hope would help some people is that the federal banks are required by the federal government to cash checks of up to $2,000 upon presentation by the non-client of some identification. And should be no charge at all to the client. So if anybody is taking federal government checks into a check casher and being charged, there is an alternative. The other thing is that I've done some more research, and there are some of the provinces that have also done something of this nature. BC, for example, limits the fee part of it to $2 instead of like 3 or more, and the percentage of the value to 1% rather than potentially 3%. So if you're in one of these provinces and receive provincial government assistance, then please do check to see if there's a way of getting your money without having to pay the higher fees.
So Barb, I just want to step back a moment. You talked about the fact that, people can actually go into any bank with a $2,000 government check and not be charged. I want you to just explain that again, just in case,
Sure.
Somebody missed what you were saying, because this is extremely important.
Absolutely. And I could say this because I actually used to work at a bank. So you would, and again, a lot of people are going online, so they don't necessarily know this. So it's a good question. So when you would go into with a bank, you would have your, let's say, federal government check. It would be nice if you had a tax refund, but it could be from any source of federal government checks. And you would go up to the teller or the customer service representative, and you would show them the check. If it's below $2,000, which sadly most of our checks are, then you would be asked for I think it's 2 forms of identification, just as you would normally do if you were opening a bank account. And after that, they would, check the signature and stuff like that. But then they would cash the check, and there would be no charge.
So, Candice, I want to go to you right now. There's less than a minute left before we go to break. Who is affected by this the most?
I would say low-income people are mostly affected. People from ethnic communities, new immigrants are usually the ones who rely on short-term lending that is not typically regulated, such as the big banks. And this is because often they don't have access to bank accounts, or they have this feeling that they will be denied credit, right? And they need to get their needs met.
So when we come back, we're going to discuss a little bit more about payday loans and high interest loans and see if there's a solution to help people get out of that continuous cycle. So please don't go away. We'll be right back.